Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have my friend Kourtlon.
Okay.
Kourtlon and I met in Coco and the director in Charlotte, North Carolina. Phenomenal coffee shop, great place to work when the Wi-Fi's working. Uh,
Super slow that day.
yeah. So Kourtlon, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, first off and
Just tell
foremost,
us a little bit about what you do and what you represent as a human being, and what you want the audience to get out of this conversation today.
I'm a freelance graphic designer and a website designer. I also do IT work for a couple companies. And like, and me as a person, man, I'm all about substance and experiences. I like to go out and get it and go out and grind. For me personally, man, I always say this: like, if you haven't struggled or done anything, then I can't work with you because I'm all about the struggle and grind, and that's the only way we're gonna become better people. So every day I strive become a better person, and my only goal in life is to uplift myself and everybody else around me. And as long as I'm doing that, like I feel fulfilled. Everything else is gonna come with that. Everything else comes with making sure your people straight, your family straight, your circle, your friends, your network. Put your put yourself in a position and put your network in position. Everything else is gonna come with that. So every day I strive to network with the right people. I talk to strangers just like yourself.
Absolutely.
And I always was taught that you're only as good as the strangers you talk to or the strangers you meet. And you know, that's my thing every day, to meet somebody new, to connect with somebody new. And at the end of the conversation, I always want somebody to be like, wow, I never thought of it that way.
Definitely the day that we met at the end of the conversation. Yeah, I definitely had the wow. I never thought of things that way kind of realization, and yeah, I think what's really impressive is that you have a technical background. You're very technologically astute, and yet you still haven't forgotten the human side as well. It's very rare. It's very rare to meet someone who is a technologist, a philosopher, and overall has just lived like life to the fullest, man. And we also live in a society where people are afraid to go out and talk to strangers. People like live in their own little bubble. They're closed off, like they're always hunched over, looking at the screen instead of paying attention to the world, around them. So, what is your secret to being such a sociable guy?
Well, first off and foremost is experience. I tell everybody, go for experiences, whether it's good or bad. No matter the outcome, whether it's good or bad, it's an experience. And I've been in situations where like I was looking for answers. And whenever you out looking for answers and you never have the answers in front of you, or you don't really have the proper guidance for those answers, you go out searching. And a lot of times I had to go out and meet random people, strangers, and even pay people. A lot of my education came from paying people that was better than me or being around people that was better than me. So I take information, I take bits and pieces from everybody that I learned from, and I kind of like throw it together in a pot and create a whole stew of myself. So and I educate myself a lot. I'm real big on self education, and like a lot of the times I take information from somebody and I'll mix it in a stew and I educate myself and I create my own experiences. And I feel like a part of being a great leader, for one, is just having experiences. Like one part of being a great leader is just connecting to people first off and foremost. The greatest leaders that taught me was able to I felt affinity to, like I felt like like they was able to get down on my level. A lot of the times, like people that's on a higher level than us, or they look down on us, and it's kind of like they talk down on us. But a lot of
Yeah.
people, a lot of great leaders that I've met, and I met some great leaders, they actually talk to me and not at me or not down on me. So and they had a personal connection. And I feel like you can't buy people at the end of the day. If you try to use your power to keep people around, you're going to force them to stay. Or so I feel like the main part of building a team is just having that connection with a person. And
I really vibe with everything that you're saying because I've read in a book. I read in a book before about leadership, and one thing that really stood out is that the best kinds of leaders, they never use their authority. They use their influence instead.
no, yeah, of course. It was crazy because I was watching a cartoon, and it was an evil genius. Like he was like an evil genius. He had took over the kingdom and everything, and like the prince, I think it was the queen. As a matter of fact, it was the queen. He had took over the kingdom and everything, and he wanted the queen. And she was like, he asked the queen, could she stay? And then she was like, no, I don't want to stay. She was like, but I don't understand because you can use your power to control me and keep me. Why don't you do that? And he said, if I use my power to keep you, then I would. If I use my power to make you stay, then I will fight to keep you.
Mm.
And ever since then I apply that to my relationships. And even with relationships, I had experiences where I tried to force to stay and force a person to stay, and it never worked out. I always tried to fight to keep them. So I learned that the best thing to do is really just connect with that person and just figure out their needs. Everybody perceive the world differently, and everybody has like a love language, so to say. So you just have to find out what makes people tick. What motivates one person may not motivate the next person, and you just have to figure out like what people see in life, or where people stand in life. What may mean something to you may not mean something to me. So that's the greatest thing. You have to take an accountability.
So, in terms of your top motivations, obviously, as you explained in your philosophy earlier to the audience, it's not the money that motivates you; it's the achievement. It's making the world a little bit better. How do you stay motivated?
Man, my thing of staying motivated is, for one, I've been places that I don't want to go back to. For, but that's part of the struggle. Man, I've been in situations where like I had a whole apartment one time, and I stayed in a whole apartment with no heat for a winter. And that was like one of my first apartments. And once you stayed in a whole apartment with no heat for a winter, it'll make you cold. It'll make you cold.
It's an understatement, man. It's an understatement.
It'll make you cold for one, but it'll make you appreciate the small things. Like me, like I went so much without the small things before that I appreciate the small things. Like, and a lot of people don't appreciate the small things. So I always take accountability of the small things. And whenever I wake up in the morning, man, I'm just thankful, man. Like I always tell people I don't have any of my apartments, I don't have curtains because I love when the sun hits my face in the morning. Like, and that's just the part, it's just the small things that bring me joy. That's what keeps me motivated. And not only that, man, it's just connecting with people, man. Being able to give a person a different side of life and meet, and also learning from other people, because I'm not the perfect person, and I do want to become the best leader. And the only way I can become the best leader is if I learn from you. There's no way for me to lead a community if I don't understand the community, or I don't understand how things work within that community. And you have to really take in accountability just the small things in life. It's always the small things that makes put together the big things. So you have to.
100%. Our whole world, right, is the sum of all the individuals that make up this collection. And one thing that really stands out about you, your whole vibe and the way that you speak, right, is that I think we live in a society that focuses on the self. We live in a society that's day by day becoming more and more self-centered. Whereas the way that you know the way that you speak, the words that you use, and overall your driving philosophy, you talk a lot about others, the community, and the world around you. Uh, and where do you get that perspective from?
Well, like I said, some of the greatest leaders, man, was able to connect. Some of the greatest leaders that I learned from was able to connect with people, was able to create a whole ecosystem just around them. They was able to put people in position, was able to help make people money, was able to provide for others. And just imagine like just being respected by your community. So once I seen like the people that I looked up to being respected by their community and people coming to them for anything. Like I want to be the person people come to, for problems, for anything. It don't even matter what it is. Even if I can't solve it, we're gonna figure out a way to solve it. I just really want to be a leader and lead people. And I've been in situations where I wasn't able to lead. I wasn't capable of leading. So I feel like part of being a man is being a capable man, and that's being capable of anything. So if anybody come to me, anybody that's in my community come to me for anything I'm capable of doing, I always want to put people in position. I always want to put people in to make money. I always want to put myself in a position to provide. Some of my like most down moments came from times where I couldn't provide for the people I love. So I appreciate that moment of how I felt at that time, and I use that like as motivation for me to put other people in position. And also, if you also come with that mindset, like you never really have to worry about nothing. Life will come in an abundance, because you have to understand, if you create an ecosystem where you got your whole network, you put your whole network in position, everybody's making money. You don't have to worry about money. The money's gonna come. If you have a network of resources and money's gonna come, that's the most important thing. So I emphasize with building my network with strong group of guys, and my network. I the people that fool me know that I will go to war with them at any time for anything. Like they could call me, be like, hey man, we about to hey man, I need you. We got just hop in the car, man. Let's ride out. And I'm going to do that. And it's been times where I had friends where I can call and be like, bro, I need like $200, and they be like, what's your cash out? What you? They won't even ask what I need it for. They won't ask no questions, and that just comes from me like being in a position of where, and they know for a fact that if no matter where they're at and they call me, I'm their ATM. I tell all my friends that as long as I got it, I'm your ATM, and it's reciprocated the same way, because you never know what position you're going to be in life ever. You might be in a position where every hustler has their ups and downs. every hustler has their highs and lows, and it's just how you bounce back
Oh, as
from
an entrepreneur, I know that firsthand.
it. Are you?
It's like a roller coaster ride. Like the ups feel really good, but no, the downs don't feel very good. But if you don't have those down moments, right, you'll never appreciate the ride up. And if you never go back down, you can't go back up. So I just see it as like a never-ending cycle where you go, you dip low and then you rise higher, but hopefully you rise higher than you did before that dip down, and
And
it's
that's
just a cycle.
and that's exactly it. Like every time you dip down, you have to look yourself in the mirror. Like, are you dip down? Do you have the right resources to come back up? Do you have the right network to come back up? And that just comes with being an entrepreneur, and like just building your network, because your next dip down is not going to be as worse as your last dip down if you do it right. If you do it right, you're not going to suffer the same way as you did last time, because you learned. You learned, and you you learned from that, and you was able to attain resources to help you. So it's just like a video game. Like imagine playing a board over and over again, and then like eventually you're going to pass that board, because you're going to figure out what you need. You're going to attain all the tools. You're going to have all the tools, so the next time you get past that board, you got everything you need. It's nothing. It's gonna be a slap in the wrist. And that just go with everything. Like even like for instance, like I had a friend call me the other day, and I had a friend that, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you this story. Great story.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, recently one of my friends, he moved to he moved to New York. But before he moved to New York, he had called me and told me about how his girlfriend like had just like left him out of nowhere. Before he even like moved to New York, or even knew he was going to get a new job in New York, his girlfriend had left him out of nowhere and went to New York. So, um, so like 2 months later, come to find out, he had wound up getting a job offer in New York, and he wound up taking it. So he told me, and I told him this. The first thing I told him, I was like, bro, whatever you do, do not go and see, do not meet up with that girl that let you, whatever you
Yep.
do not do it. So it's crazy, man, because he called me like last week, and actually texted me in the middle of the night. He's like, bro, I really need to talk to you and everything. And he's like, man, I got, I've been going through some things. And then so I called him, immediately. If you call anybody that text me, like in my circle, man, I'm calling immediately, like, you okay? You good? You need me to catch a flight up there? Like, what's up? He was like, man, you remember that girl I told you, my ex, I told you that, dumped me and everything. He's like, man, he's like, I linked up with her, and I linked up with her and everything, and he's like, man, it's crazy. It's like the whole time she was just like putting her phone down and texting, on her phone and everything, and then she wound up telling me that she was just seeing a whole nother dude.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he told me that, and then I told him, I was like, bro, it's the reason I told you not to do that. Is the reason being is because for one, it's a respect thing. If
It's a
you,
matter of respecting yourself, man, and like self worth and human dignity. Like everyone has inherent dignity, and the only person who can tell you that you don't have dignity is yourself. And I just think having respect for yourself is just of utmost importance.
facts, I totally agree. So yeah, he's telling me, and he was like, man, the past few days, man, I've just been in my room and everything, and down and everything. So I assume, he's just been like kind of moping and grind. I don't know, but I told him, I was like, there's a reason I told you that, is because like you can't give your power away. You understand? Like you can't do that. And I also told him, I was like, bro, like you don't need to be dating right now. If that's how that situation makes you feel, you don't need to be dating right now, because you need to have a little bit more experience. You know what I'm saying? Even with platonic relationships, you need to have a little bit more experience, because like if a breakup, if this is what, what I'm saying, causes you to be depressed and everything, you need to have a little bit more experience in life. Like with me, like after you done slept in an apartment with no heat, been through near death experiences, and then struggled in life, a breakup is nothing to me. A breakup, a breakup is like, it's just like a slap on the wrist or something. Like, oh, all right. So, but I'm thankful that I had those experiences, and I can lead other people who haven't had those experiences for him. And it's crazy because the first thing he said, he was like, man, the only reason I want to talk to you and nobody else, he's like, because I know, you experienced with stuff. And it just made me appreciate, where I am in life and everything. So I always I just appreciate the past experiences. And crazy thing, so yeah, he was going on about how, how he felt down and everything. And at the end of the conversation, I wound up talking him into a whole different mood, a whole different mindset, and it was
Amen.
yes, I taught. He's like,
Amen.
man, you know what? He's like, man,
Let's
I feel
go.
better now. Because I told him, I was like, bro, like you just got a job up there making like near 100K, a year. Like you making like over 80K a year. Like why are you, like, she did nothing to help you attain that job. She did nothing to help you move. You had to like
Yep.
sell your car to move to New York. You had to do all of that, bro. Like I was like, bro, you had to like look at what you've been through. And then he was telling me, he's like, yeah, man, you know what? He's like, dang, I do remember. So he started going through his past experiences of where like he was like his most down moments. He was like, dang, you know what, man? He was like, now that I think about my past experience, he was like, it really ain't that bad. Like, and I'm sitting here telling him, I'm like, bro, like, you never see like a fish, a fish with a cup of water. You see a fish swim through water. So, so you in New York, man, you swim through the water, man. Don't hang on to your cup of water.
I think I think it's the difference between a abundance mentality and a scarcity mentality. And like when I wake up, when I brew my cup of coffee, I see this whole world as my oyster. I see like I see opportunity everywhere.
Yes,
Whether it's socially or economically or just like pure happiness in general. And man,
yes.
New York is truly the land of opportunity.
Yeah, I'm like, I was almost, ain't even gonna lie, like I was almost like confused. I was like, bro, you was up there in the mecca of like all types, like And you
Yeah,
sitting here calling me. I was like, bro, you really sit here calling me pouting about, a breakup? Like, bro, you was in the greatest position ever, bro. Not only on New York, you are not only are you in New York, you are like making like a crazy salary up there in New York. You're not no basic dude like up there, man. And it's just all a part of him knowing his worth. You know what I'm saying? So I don't he at the moment I feel like he doesn't know his worth, but me telling him, he started to realize like, dang, I do need to build my character. I do need to get out here and just, I need to spend some time to myself because one thing he said, he was like, even before this relationship, I was in another bad relationship prior to this. And, I told him straight up, I was like, man, you you can't be out here desperate for love for one. Like
absolutely. Because people can sense desperation.
yes, bro, like especially women, and they're gonna capitalize on that. And I was like, you can't be out here desperate for love. And he was telling me, he's like, man, it's different for girls and everything. I was like, yes, it's different for girls, but never compare yourself to a woman. You are your own man. You're your own man. You have to build your own lifestyle, build your own abundance, and then can't nobody tell you anything. Like, really, can't nobody tell you anything now? Can't nobody tell you that you're not a great person because you're an amazing person? Can't nobody call you broke? Can't nobody say that you can't dress? Can't nobody tell you anything now? So why you have to build on top of that, and don't be desperate for love because I feel like a lot of issues that that's going on nowadays is that men are desperate for love, and that's what's going on. Like men are desperate for love, and
This
women are
sounds
kept.
so cliche, but I think that modern men, especially in the United States, they need to start to learn how to value themselves and love themselves before loving anyone else.
Yes, yes, and that's the problem. Like after, and I've been in the same. I speak from experiences. Like I've been in a relationship where, I did nothing to cater. I did nothing but do everything for the woman, my woman, and cater to my woman, and I wound up losing. Like at the end of the day, I looked up and I had nothing. Nothing to show for it. Like I've spent so many years trying to, prove to the same person I love them, and then like I looked up and I had nothing to show for it. So for real, like oh crazy, but mine it's almost mind blowing, and I was in a position where I was desperate for love. You know what I'm saying? And so, and love is like a drug, man. Like once you feel,
It's
if
actually
you
literally a drug if you look at it from like a biochemistry perspective.
bro,
It's literally like a artificial high.
bro, it's a drug, bro. Like man, you in love, you just air, you already know, man, how you feel,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, I know.
you, you man, you know how you feel. So it's the drug, man. So like once you lose that drug, like love is being desperate for love is no different from a crackhead wanting crack, or like it's no different because like once you lose that high feeling of love, like you go searching for it and you become desperate. You know what I'm saying? Like you willing like to give the next woman all your love, or just whoever all your love. Ready to give the next person. You're all hoping for that same type of feeling, and you get disappointed whenever you don't get that same type of feeling. And that's what I was explaining to him. I was like, man, it ain't that you like really like it ain't like her or anything, or it's just that you desperate for love, bro. You really need to look in the mirror and not, what I'm saying, put yourself in a position where, you're just searching. You need to look within. Everything that you want is within you, bro. So don't I always emphasize that. Don't be desperate for love because people will capitalize on that for sure.
Oh, I know that firsthand.
They will
But
capitalize.
what I but what I'm really curious about on your perspective. Why do you think guys, especially especially young men, like in their 20s, early 30s, why do you think so many young men in today's society lack self-esteem and why don't they love themselves?
Well, I'll say this first and foremost is because we're just living in today's time where everything moves fast. Everybody wants everything fast.
It's that instant gratification.
That's what it is. Nobody wants to go through the struggle or experiences, and the struggle and experiences will build character at the end of the day. Like when I was just now saying, like, after all the experiences I had, like the me, a breakup and me looking for love is like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because I look for accomplishments now, and once you start looking for more accomplishments, once you start looking for accomplishments and feeling fulfilled as a man, then you build confidence. And see, it was one point, because it was definitely one point where I wasn't as confident as I am today, and that was because came from me like catering to other people, catering to family members, women, and not really knowing myself and knowing my value. I've done it been times where I've done music videos, I've done websites for people, I've done like logos for people for them not to appreciate it, and so it made me feel not appreciated. If you got people, if you have a skill and every time you present a skill to a person and they like, oh, whatever, you start thinking like, dang, well, maybe it's not that good, or maybe maybe I'm not as good, or maybe I'm not up to par. But see, the issue is that I wasn't around the right people. Like, I was an orange around apples, so I had to put myself around oranges. And it's crazy because whenever I started going out of town and showing people my skills and everything, they was almost mind blowing.
I think
And
it's also so important to remember, like, you can be, you can be an orange, and some people just don't like orange juice. Some people want apple juice instead.
yeah, that's just
It doesn't mean
it.
that you're a bad orange. It doesn't mean that you're. It doesn't mean that you're not a valuable person. It just means that you're like you're not the right fit.
Exactly. And see, a lot of times, and remember what you told me, like I told you, I was like, man, I always blame myself for situations because either I put too much energy or not enough energy. And you turned around and told me, it was like, you was like, bro, that's not completely true, because sometimes it's your environment.
Yeah,
And there you and that's it. And it mind blown me, and I've been thinking about that too, because that's like a whole nother variable that I haven't even put in perspective. And that's just variables that a lot of men don't put in perspective. They don't see that. Like, they think they just have to accept what's in their environment, and they don't know any better. I always say, if you knew better, you would do better. So that's one thing for me to be a leader, is to show people like just a different way or a different perspective. Because for me, like, my biggest thing was just looking for guidance. Like, I had the most issues, the most troubles just trying to find guidance. Like from anywhere, anything. So it took trial and error and so many losses to figure out what works for me, and to find myself. So, and it took me separating from my environment that I felt unappreciated in, to find my value. So
so here's while we're on the topic of environment, right? Here's what I find very fascinating. Okay, you're an accomplished entrepreneur, but you also once were in a corporate environment where you were well respected, you were making good money, and 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 you also were working like on a good team as well, part of a good brand. Uh, what made you realize? What was your come to Jesus moment when you realized this is not I have a good situation, but this is not the right environment for me?
man, I'm gonna tell you a situation. I actually sold high-end cars for hendrickcars.com, and the most like sanctified moment I had, where I was like, you know what, man, like, I can really do this for myself. I used to sell cars. I sold like a couple Corvettes. I sold a Charger, a Jeep Wrangler, but it was one instance where I sold a car to a guy, and a lot of you not, the dude bought the car. He bought a Corvette, dang, Z06, Corvette Z06, red Z06, nice. But the guy paid cash for it, 70K cash. Guess how much I got paid off of it?
How much?
A
7K?
thousand. I made $1,000.
That's nuts because typically you would expect 10% commission at least, like for salespeople, and that's $1,000 for a 70K Corvette.
So, it blew my mind, because I had worked with this guy all week, and I basically imagine talking to somebody at a 70K and
Yep.
you only getting $1,000. So I told myself, I was like, dang, if I can if I can talk multiple people, and that's not only him, it was like another deal I did. It was a 40K. Somebody had won the lottery. It was like a lady from Vegas. She won the lottery, and she bought a Corvette. It was another dude who came in, but that last one is what did it for me because I'm like, if I can talk somebody at a 70K and they like me, and I could talk somebody at a 70K, like, why am I working here? You understand? Like if I could talk somebody at a 70K for a product of value, there's no reason for me to be working somewhere like and me getting $1,000. Like I'm sitting here like struggling. I'm sitting here struggling, and that didn't make any sense. So right there, and I knew what kind of power I had and what I could do. Um, right then and there. So that was kind of honestly the breaking point. And even after then, like I still had corporate jobs. Like even after I left from selling cars, I was working at Polo Ralph Lauren, and I was PoloRalphLauren.com, and I had worked my way up the ladder from there. Like I was actually started at like an order picker. Like every time somebody placed an order, I would go to, it's like a huge closet. RalphLauren.com has a huge, they basically got like a 5-story closet with like everything, like everything. But
And
anyways,
you
I
just
would,
climbed your way up that ladder.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, anytime somebody ordered, I would go get their order or whatever, pick it out of the closet and everything. And I actually like got in a position to where it was crazy how I got in that position because it was like the dude, he was like in like he was in a whole different department, but we wound up talking and everything. He wound up liking me. It was like whole supervisor, and he told me, he's like, man, come over here to where we at. So I wound up going to where they was at, man. I got good with everybody, and then now it is. They was like, man, why don't you try doing this, doing that? So at the end of the day, I found myself on a computer, accepting orders from China, you know what I'm saying, personally from like suppliers. And I actually enjoyed it, man, because I came in when I wanted to, man. I wasn't doing anything much. But coronavirus came and I got kicked to the curb. And once I got kicked to the curb, I was actually it put me in a tough spot because like I kind of got like evicted and everything out of my whole spot. Crazy, right? So that's when I realized like, dang, I can't depend on nobody else. Like it made me lose dependency of a job after that. Because I'm like, dang, I'm sitting here depending on these jobs. I'm literally giving these jobs my all. Like I'm selling cars, I'm selling 70K cars. I'm like, going hard every day for me to be kicked to the curb. And I told myself I need to really regain my power because, I'm tired of like giving people my all and for me to wind up with nothing. So instead of doing that, I'm going to become a leader myself, and I'm going to build my own community, my own network, my own everything. And that way, I never have to worry about being put in a situation where I'm less
And
than.
eventually you went on to pivot into the world of technology.
Man, I always been in the tech. Man, I've been in tech since MySpace. I've been in the tech since MySpace, man. I was making like pages and stuff in MySpace, but like I said, bro, I never really, I like my mom had me when I was 17. Like basically was born like, in the project. So, like I said, like if you knew better, you do better. Like nobody ever told me like, hey, you can do this tech, you can do this tech wise, you can make this and do that. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I ever really knew or anybody was ever able to tell me was to work a job and get a job at the local factory, or what I'm saying, sell drugs. And I really kind of didn't want to do neither of those. So I just went looking for answers. And when I was in college, I went to school for physical therapy. But the whole time I was in college, I was making websites because one thing websites did for me was it was an outlet for me to bring my creativity to the world. I always told myself like, dang, I wanna find a way like for people to understand me. You know what I'm saying? And what my mind is like, I want an outlet. You know what I'm saying? So uh making websites became an outlet for me because I was able to like reach people, and they was able to understand my creativity. And ever since then, I just been in the tech. Like I would say, I've
What is
been.
the secret to having a high converting, compelling website that captivates the attention of the audience? Because we live in an attention economy where in today's world, the time you have your eyeballs on the screen, that's money right there. How do you keep people's eyeballs on the screen?
I'm gonna tell you, man, I had a great English teacher, man, and he emphasized thesis statements. And this
Yup.
is applies to anything in life, even when it comes to communication, the thesis statement. He was like, man, if you have a strong thesis statement, like he drilled, he's like, if you have a strong thesis statement, man, you're always gonna have a great story, no matter what. And for anybody that don't know, your thesis statement is like the first couple things, it's the first paragraph. Your first paragraph. Your thesis statement got to be crazy. Like, and what's crazy, man, Mr. Byron, man. Shout out to Mr. Byron. Shout out to Mr. Byron, man, because he really connected me with me on the level. And I used to make crazy thesis statements. Like I'll start off like bang. Like bang, capital letters, exclamation. I bust through the door. I'm gonna make a thesis statement. I bust through the door. And then once I saw through the door, there was a couple things I needed to do to accomplish the mission. First, I needed to get a rope. Second, I needed to get some binoculars so I can see my enemies. Third, I needed to make sure my running shoes was tied. Then I'm out. So after that, I caught your attention. You're like, what's going on? What is he doing? Where he about to run? What do you need binoculars for? What? So that's just a part of anything. Like that's just life, man. Keeping people's attention, man. They got a
You know,
storytelling.
the whole world of like B2B, like business sales, right? Like that whole point that you made about having a good thesis statement, that really that really resonated with me, because when you're selling to businesses, the thesis that you're making in your sales pitch on your website is, you know, how can I solve this one problem that this business has? Like, for example, in my world of wholesale energy bars, right?
Hmm.
The paint point is, you know, that the paint point that these customers have is like, there's no bar in the market that well, there is, but there's not a lot of them, that's number one, healthy for you, and also tastes good. So our thesis is, you know, hey, we can make stuff taste good and be healthy at the same time.
You know what I say? I be like, are y'all tired of them nasty ass energy bars?
Yeah, I know I am. I know I
Yeah,
am.
look. So they make you think like, dang,
You
like
ever bit
that.
into an energy bar and then you're like, wait, this is literally like cardboard.
Yeah, bro. So you got to
Yeah.
resonate with experiences with people. Once you resonate in those experiences with people, like they like, well, dang, yeah, I am tired of these damn energy bars. What do you know? What do you know that I don't know? So yeah, people are always seeking information. So if you can, just put it in a way like a kind of cliffhanger to where make a person ask a question or be inquisitive or make a person think. That's my thing. Just making a person think and or just think like like you always got it, like you're always going to leave that impression. You can make it stimulate a person's mind.
As a thinking man, you know, as a ponderer, philosopher, what do you think is the best source of inspiration for your ideas? Is there a specific setting, a place where you get most of your where you draw all your creativity?
Man, I think my inspiration is just enjoying the small things in life, man. Like I swear, man, like I
The
read a
smell of the coffee in the morning.
bro, like man, I just
The feeling of actually being able to get internet in the coffee shop.
bro, just the small things like that, man. And like speaking, like meeting you in the coffee shop, man, like that right there inspires me because I'm like, wow, like man, I made a great friend, and I'm like, dang,
Absolutely.
like if like look where we are now. You can't like that inspires me so much, and what inspires me more, that I'm able to have a platform where I can reach other people because I'm pretty sure it's somebody that need to hear something I have to say because I have so much experiences. So it's just the small things like riding in a car looking at the countryside. The sunrise, man. It's just the small things that really just brings me inspiration, and also just connecting with people. That's first off and foremost, connecting with great people. That's always inspiration. And whenever I can make somebody think a different type of way, whenever I can make somebody think a different type of way, or give them a different ideology, like When I used to paint a lot, man, I used to paint like some crazy pictures, and people used to come in there. They used to like look at my pictures, like you know what I'm saying, like this, turn of their head. They used to just look like they're like, man, that kind of looks like this if you look at it that way, and that right there is just inspiration for me. You know what I'm saying, to keep doing, because I'm like, dang, if I can stimulate somebody's mind, I can leave that imprint. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, I just love leaving that imprint, man.
Absolutely. Kourtlon, our audience really enjoyed this talk today on our podcast. What final words of inspiration would you like to imprint on the audience?
Um, First off and foremost, man, I just if you feeling any type of way, you're down, man. Please, don't be. First, I want you guys, man, just to live through your experiences and appreciate however you feeling at the moment. Appreciate it, even if you mad, sad, or happy. And don't let nobody take your power away from you. And whether it be good, sad, bad, always be a stoic person. And when I say be a stoic person, just be just
Like
react how
Marcus Aurelius.
huh?
Like Marcus Aurelius,
Yes, yes,
famous
man.
Stoic.
Just be a stoic person, man. And even if you are down, like at your lowest, man, appreciate that moment, because you won't be there long. You won't be there long if you wake up and you stay consistent. I want everybody to stay consistent, because the only way for a person to take you seriously in anything you do is to be consistent. And once you stay consistent, they have no choice but to take you seriously. Like in anything you do, it don't even matter if you juggle. If you juggling balls, if I walk in, I see you juggle one ball. The next day, I see you juggling three, four, five balls. Then I have no choice but to take you seriously. And that right there matches with professionalism. And like the world is yours. Like you just stay consistent in anything you do. Everything you feel right now is temporary. The feelings are temporary. Elevate everybody around you. That's how you win in life. If you doing things for self, don't be selfish. If you're doing things for self, then you kind of always going to get you're going to reach a glass ceiling. It's only so far you can go if you just sitting here doing things for self. So build your team, build your network, go through your experiences, good or bad. Like it doesn't matter the outcome. A lot of people, they focus on the outcome of things. They think ahead. Nah, or just enjoy the present moment. The present is a present. So I just want everybody to key on that. Oh, and follow me on IG. It's right here down at the bottom. Notes Bali, KNOLTS_BALI. And shout out to my parents, my family, everybody I love, my whole team, and you too, Manny.
Absolutely, I'm proud to be part of your journey,
Likewise, likewise.
and if we want to contact you for web design or graphic design services, to everyone who's listening in the audience, should we hit you up on Instagram?
Yeah, just reach me through Instagram. I'll send you a link, my link tree to all my sites, all my content. I usually have everything on my Instagram for you to contact me on, and you can see all my work. I have a portfolio. I don't mind you seeing my portfolio. I have my hands in a lot of stuff. Airbnbs. I do Bitcoin ATM as well. I have a Bitcoin ATM as well. So I have
Bitcoin's the
my hands.
future, man.
Yeah, I have my hands in a lot of different stuff. So if you need to contact me for anything, any advice or anything, man, just mental health coaching, or just talk to me, or you need to say, hey, KP, I'm going through this, man. I need this, blase, or what do you think about this, man? I'm your guy, man. I promise you, man. I've seen a lot under the sun, so I could probably most likely, guide you and just give you some good advice, some sound advice, and I'm always here just for sound advice, because one thing I always struggled with was finding sound advice. So I'm thankful for the experience I had, and to be able to lead the next person and to give them advice. So I mean, just contact me for anything, guys.
Everyone, thanks so much to Kourtlon for being on the show today, and highly recommend you all reaching out to him on Instagram.
For sure, for
This
sure.
man is a absolute genius. I don't say that very often, and true fountain of wisdom as well.
Thank you very much, man. You as well, man. You know, real recognize real. That's what I that's what I always say, man. We this ain't it, man. We got a lot to accomplish, bro. So, you know, this is the tip of the iceberg, you guys. You're gonna see me and Manny on some things, man. For real, man. Don't This ain't the last you seen us together. Don't even worry about
You got it. Until
it.
next time, my friends.
Yes, bro.